Hello and welcome back. Today, I'm going to talk about the biggest money lie that you've probably ever heard. My name is Dr. Shola and I am a physician, a life and executive coach, a speaker, and an author, and so many things to many people. Today, I'm going to talk about the biggest money lie that you were probably ever told or ever sold. You've probably heard this. Go to school, get a job. Oh, get good grades. Don't forget that part. Go to school, get good grades, get into a good college, get a job. And somewhere along the line, financial security was supposed to follow, or it was just some nebulous stuff that you didn't know what was going to be the end of that. But here's the thing: if you're my age and younger, you were most likely prepared for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Companies are always downsizing. AI is changing the landscape with every passing day. And that employer loyalty that used to exist doesn't exist anymore. Gone are the days when you finished your high school or your first degree and you got a job. You stayed in that job for 50 years and you retired on a nice pension that took care of you until you passed away. The world is not like that anymore. Everything has changed. And now, if we're still running that old script in our heads, how do we cope with the changing times? And the first thing I'm going to tell you is that your salary is not your wealth. It's not. And let me explain why. You remember the story? The go to school, get a job, get good grades, etc. The truth is that you could be earning very high income and not living well. Worse, you could be earning a more modest income and be living like a king. Why is that? Because if you see your salary as your wealth, you will expend it all on your everyday living. But when you start to see your salary as part of something that could become a seed for the future, you start to look at life differently. A few years ago, my husband and I we had just finished residency. So he finished a year before me, and then I finished a year after. So we were both out here, living, earning good salaries as a doctor. But it was like, we're living in the same rented apartment. Our lifestyle didn't change so much. We weren't, for some reason, with that running script, right? I thought, once I get my attending money, I'm going to be living it up. In fact, I told my husband, once you start earning this, I'm going to buy that. Once I start earning this, we're going to buy that. But here's what actually happened. We were like, there's something wrong. Why is it that we're earning what seems to be a lot of money, but it's not translating into our lifestyle? What is going on? So we engaged the services of a lovely man, a financial advisor, and he came to talk to us. The first thing he did was, let me see your budget. Okay, so we started writing what we spent money on, etc., etc. Just went through all of that. And he's sitting there with his calculator, he tallies it up, and then he looks at us and he says, you guys are missing, based on your salary, you guys are missing $3,000 every month. We were shocked. And this is where I make the point that having a high salary does not automatically translate into wealth, nor does it translate in knowing how to manage money. Remind me of this little joke that said, this person said, I don't want to change my bad financial habits. I want to afford them. There you go. But it does get to a point where if you have bad financial habits, no matter how much you make, you will come to a point where you cannot afford them. Just go and read the story of Johnny Depp. Anyway, enough about Johnny Depp, but the truth is that we were flummoxed. We were like, where is this money going? So the gentleman looked at us and gave us a challenge and said, well, find me this money, and we can put it away. We can invest it. We can do different things with it. once you're able to do that and stay consistent. So we went to work and we started putting this money aside, and not just putting it aside, we were investing it. And lo and behold, this was many years ago. Now, every year we look at the numbers, but now he says, "Well, oh, you guys are doing good. You're set for retirement." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, not set for retirement right now, obviously, but in the time when should we choose to retire, as it were, we'll be doing okay." But that's not because we're going to be earning a high salary when we're retired. It's because of what we did back then to start, even though it was painful and it was hard at first, to start diligently putting money away and investing it, not just putting it, not just, oh, save for the rainy day where, you have that money where you put it aside and then, I like this thing. I'm just going to take all the money out and buy it. No, this was money that we did not touch. All this to say, don't think of your salary as your wealth. Think of your salary as part of what you can use to build actual wealth. Because the thing about your salary is that once you stop, it stops. And if you have nothing else after that, then you're going to be in serious trouble. And now, for people that are saying, "Oh, but my company has a 401k," hate to break it to you, you will probably outlive that 401k of yours. So yes, you have a 401k, and those are good, right? I have a 401k too. I have 401k. I have these different vehicles, but even your 401k might not be enough. We recently found out that the Gen Zs and millennials may not get Social Security. And that's alarming because they're paying into it now with money they could be investing, but they're paying into it now. So what happens to all of that? What happens when the world you were promised is suddenly ripped out from under your feet? Nobody is going to come and rescue you. You have to start now thinking about how you're going to rescue yourself. So, wealth is not about money. It starts with how you think. If you think of, "Oh, my salary is my wealth, I could just do whatever I want with it," take a step back and start to think differently. Start to think of how you can put money aside for investments apart from your 401k. Start to think about how you could join collaboratives and invest in a rental rental property. Start to think about how you can create digital products for which you'll get royalties in perpetuity. Start to think about starting your own LLC. Even if it's a so-called hobby, you can turn it into a business and start to create, take advantage of tax strategies. Think about that. If you take away nothing from what I'm saying today, take away this. Your salary is not your wealth. It's your starting point for your wealth creation. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.